In his famous mural, Sugarcane, artist Diego Rivera captures life on a sugarcane plantation in Old Mexico. Armed guards and overseers on horseback watch peasant workers chopping and hauling enormous bundles of sugarcane. Female peasants and children harvest palm nuts, while the plantation owner lazily swings in a porch hammock. To the sociologist, various parts of the painting serve as pieces of a puzzle that reveal the society and the culture of the sugarcane plantation. By using the sociological perspectives, conflict, functionalism, and interactionism, sociologists can explore patterns of social behavior depicted in the painting. Used in combination, the perspectives can give a more complete picture of the multidimensional society portrayed in Rivera's painting.
No social situation is pure conflict situation or pure functional situation or pure interaction situation. Society is multidimensional. You as an analyst are part of that multidimensional world.
Each perspective focuses on specific questions and observations. Functionalism explores how society is structured, what jobs are being performed, and how those jobs function together. From the functionalist perspective, it makes sense that some of the people are workers and some are in charge. Using functionalism, a sociologist might ask, how do the different roles contribute to the successful operation of this sugarcane plantation? The conflict perspective studies how power affects the distribution of resources and how conflict changes society. It would look at the obvious inequity displayed by the people in the painting. Using the conflict perspective, a sociologist might ask, what do the armed guards reveal about power and control within the plantation society? Interactionism would examine how the people on the plantation relate to one another and how this interaction defines expectations of behavior. Using the interactionist perspective, a sociologist might ask, what behavior does the young girl believe is expected from her? What about the guard? What about the owner? Used in combination, the sociological perspectives can help us better understand Diego Rivera's historical depiction of life on a sugarcane plantation. The same holds true when exploring current events or issues.
The advantages to using the three different perspectives looking at the same issue would be that it would give you three different levels of analysis. You would have, for example, a macro look at how that event fits in with all the other elements of society on a functional perspective. You'd have some sense of the competition between groups and how various social groups were divided along the lines of an issue. And then if you looked at an interactionist perspective, you could see one-on-one how an issue was framed through language.
Each sociological perspective asks different sorts of questions and examines a different level of social interaction. For instance, what does functionalism reveal about a circus?
From a functional perspective, within the circus, each of the performers would have a function, much like all the organs of the body have a function. There would be a heart, maybe the ringleader or the manager. There would be also people who perform roles who seem not to be very important, but actually are there for a reason. They're irreplaceable, but have very small roles.
Functionalism asks questions about how complex social groups work together to maintain equilibrium in society. What jobs are being performed? How do they function together? And how is the society structured? Just like the circus, each individual's function is important in maintaining social order.
Functionalism is the one that looks at the social structures of any society. Every portion of the social world has a function, has a specific role to play in keeping that social organism healthy. And functionalists look at different aspects of society and try to interpret what role that aspect, that format, or that social entity has in keeping the entire social structure healthy.
Functionalism is a perspective that assumes that anything that is here in the social world is here because it has a purpose.
The circus is an entertaining event because each performer knows her or his role. It is the performance of these roles that makes the circus, like society, a successful functioning unit. In May of 1886, striking factory workers in Chicago's Haymarket Square were attacked by a police force. By the end of the skirmish, several factory workers and policemen were dead and dozens were injured. What does the conflict perspective reveal about the Haymarket Square massacre?
A conflict theorist would look at that event, or any event like that, where you have, specifically in this case, workers in conflict with power structures, as being a situation where there's some resources that some group has and the other one wants. And the Haymarket specifically being over labor rights and labor issues. You had power in the hands of a certain class of people, and then you had a resulting desire for more power by folks that were disenfranchised.
The conflict perspective would show us how the Haymarket massacre really galvanized the labor movement in the United States. The laborers versus the factory owners competing for a say in what the value of work was.
The conflict perspective examines how social change can often be a strengthening factor in society. Using the conflict perspective, a sociologist would ask questions that relate to power and control.
Conflict perspective in sociology looks at conflict, either between groups or individuals or social structures, as normal and natural in the system. That is, the system in many ways is a struggle. Struggles for power, resources, respect, anything that is limited in society. Conflict can be seen within society as normal and natural in order for societies to function.
Conflict perspective in sociology assumes that there's a very limited amount of scarce resources within a society. In our society, that's generally money and power, and groups divide and compete according to the share of resources that they think they want.
So very often you have violent conflicts resulting in society setting up mechanisms to resolve conflict in the future.
In this city of angels, we can summon the better angels of our nature. Do not rest where we are or retreat. Do all we can to make America all it can become. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America.
When campaigning, politicians seek to gain our support by voicing patriotic speeches. These shape our perceptions of the candidates and what they stand for. A sociologist using the interactionist perspective would ask questions about how our social interactions shape our perceptions and why the use of symbols in a campaign is so important.
Interactionism is a perspective that emphasizes how individuals create a shared world of meaning. Interactionism examines the process through which we come to understand a more or less common meaning of these events.
I need you. Be there, and tonight we will celebrate a new future for the greatest country in the history of the human race. Thank you.
How would the interactionist perspective help us understand how we form our perceptions of candidates in an election?
I think the only Tuesday that's going to be more super than this Tuesday will be Tuesday, November 5. That's going to be it.
Interactionism would help us understand politicians by showing us how they pitch their messages to get at an audience. The campaign rhetoric and politically correct verbiage is dependent upon the audience and the voters that he or she is trying to reach. And it can really make or break the difference between appeal and lack of appeal.
It's important for our sense of identity in many ways to hear people say what you expect them to say.
Together we will work to make all our public schools excellent, teaching every student of every background and every accent so that no child is left behind.
Especially those who need lifting up so they won't be left behind.
The real issue.
When you look at politicians and they give us the same speech over and over again, doesn't matter what campaign, what you're running for, you very often hear the same spiel from politicians. Are they trying to insult our intelligence? No. I mean, that's their role. They have to tell us certain things that serve as a baseline for our understanding of the political process. You learn these things at the level of interaction, personal interactions, and you learn how to behave towards other people through what you've accumulated through schooling, through the media, through your parents, and then you add all that up, and that's what you get. That's the social structure. So in many ways, it depends a great deal on the meaning that individuals have learned and then attribute to situations.
The sociological perspectives explore different questions and guide our observations regarding patterns of group behavior. They can be used to broaden our understanding of the multidimensional nature of society.